Oh, let's do it live.
You guys are up.
Edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Merely Bo on the east side of Cleveland, and, of course, the great Z and Gibbe on Gibbe's birthday at the undisclosed location. Apparently you have house guests as well.
Well, they're on the I'm pretty sure they're on camera. We got dogs running amok here.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a Zoom.
For Gibbe's
I'm working
birthday.
on it.
I think we're on camera. I think on the stream, though, we
are on the stream.
What are the names
the
again,
dogs are
Gibbe?
in the mix?
Oliver and Roxy.
Oliver and Roxy. Roxy's a little nervous, but she comes by and she licks my hand twice, and then she puts her tail between her legs and runs away again.
Yeah.
She's very cute.
It's not the most ideal scenario today, but we had some
It's your birthday, Gibbe. You don't have to apologize.
Matter. It's your birthday. Do what you want.
Do whatever you want.
No,
it's Gibbe Day.
Well, it was planned construction, but unplanned on when we were going to start it, and we found out last night.
Okay.
And, this is what happens sometimes.
I just want to know what you would have done in the event that we were in the dog bowl.
Well, if we were in the dog bowl, I could have worked from home.
Sure.
Right now,
this is your this is your home. I feel like
I love the idea. I mean, this is a sitcom waiting to happen.
Oh my God!
I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to do this. Like,
Bo, we got these two dogs right now eating their bones. Roxy's over to my
save
left.
the peanut butter bones for 1:00, so that way we're not barking, we're not getting crazy.
Ollie's already gotten through that peanut butter. He's housed it in
as you can
short
see.
order. Big boy.
The man does. The man likes food.
He has not cheated at the chow.
No,
line.
the
Roxy's
the
lean,
sausage is what we call him.
We even had a house. We had a house guest today, Bo. The great Lou. Lou just showed up after chopping down some trees.
Lou is across the way
sat
in
down
the woods.
Regaled us
out.
with tales.
He was in the woods?
He was in the woods.
Oh, my God.
Chopping
Did you throw him one of
trees.
those spotted browns or whatever the beer is from Wisconsin?
Well, we gave him a cold. He asked for a nice cold water. You got that. So
yeah, he was like, he came out of the woods. He's like, hey, can I get a water? I'm like, yeah. Do you want anything else? We got other
water.
things.
So,
oh my gosh, that's great! Look at the there they are.
Ollie, what's up?
See,
hi.
now you rifle them all up.
Hi.
Those are the dogs I had as kids. My dogs Rambo and Slippy were both exactly those guys.
Hi.
Like
Thank
black
you.
and whites.
Thank you.
The best dog.
Oh, great. He's a good boy. Big kisser.
Yeah.
Big kisser. Oh, yeah. Take my paw. Sure.
Yeah,
I'd shake.
no.
Hi.
Hey,
good to
Oliver,
see
why don't
you.
we go lay down?
Oliver. Yeah, Gibbe's. I've enjoyed Gibbe's dog training. Hey, go lie down. So far, that's what it's consisted of. That's been his commands. By the way, they have yet to listen to any of his commands.
No, it's a stressful. They're stressed. And Oliver takes her bone.
Uh-oh.
That's how this goes.
Roxy, no. Oliver.
Oh, sad.
No. Bo, how are the boys?
Yeah, what's going on over in Num?
Infirmary, straight infirmary. Day 2. No one's at school. No one could go. We're in the throes of it. It was brutal. Last night, so they couldn't do anything. Last night I took NBC, and because he just had kind of like a throat thing, he wasn't having any of the bodily fluid exchanges.
Sure.
And I said, I go, let's go play golf, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
So he and I went out and played, and had a ball, and had one of the at the end of the thing, he goes, Dad, thank you so much for thinking about asking me to play golf. And it was like a cat's in the cradle. Like I almost started crying.
Dude, I want to cry.
Like I almost started bawling. Like that's all I want. That's all I've ever wanted. I mean, I hardly ever golf. The only reason that we've stayed at the club is for that moment to be a moment, and so we had it. I was like, buddy, I'm the winner. I win.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. Who cares what you score? Well, I win. We got to have a nice night. It was beautiful. Played 9 in an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, fantastic.
Perfect.
It was a great day for golf. I got out there yesterday, had a nice little match, came down to the wire.
Did you win?
We did. Yep, 1 up. Yeah, went 35 on the back 9 to lock it up. It was
nice.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. I'm envious, obviously, of what you said. El Boods, he's not smacking the golf ball. Tonight's his spring concert. He's on the viola. He's become incredibly good. I must say. Obviously but I think he practices probably more than a lot of the kids, and he's gotten really good. They're gonna do a little Pirates of the Caribbean theme, which is a great song.
A great theme.
Yeah, great theme. So I'm excited for that. That's on the docket for this evening. And by the way,
that's very exciting.
And it's too cold. It's all of a sudden it's cold, and it's so funny that 2 months ago, 56 and sunny, we would have been jumping up and down, and we still should be. But all of a sudden it feels awful brisk.
It's the sun will make it. Tomorrow we're one dayer, right?
Yep. Tomorrow we're back.
We're right back. So it's
Right back.
It's all good.
Yep.
44 for the kid on the back nine.
Okay.
44. Pretty crazy.
As in
par,
you?
Par to finish.
As in you were the kid, the NBC.
I was. No, the kid was 54, but it was we played women's tees. We played the women's tees. We're up.
Uh-huh.
To be fair, we're up.
Yep.
Because we like playing the same grouping. But yeah,
I like
mean
that.
That's the first time I kept scored on anything in a very long
44
time.
is a
Did not hit
solid
driver,
number.
Still terrified because of the back. So
You got to just let it go, baby. You're ready.
Grip and rip.
You're
Let's
ready.
go.
Tee it high and let it
I
fly.
don't know. Let it fly a little bit.
Yes.
Gibbe, what was
hi,
your
how are
greatest
you?
birthday as a kid? What was your greatest birthday as a kid?
I could tell you the worst.
No, I don't want.
I
the
literally
worst.
had
I don't want to hear about something at Bowling Green.
No, I literally had chicken pox.
For the kids.
And, my parents still had to throw the
Oh,
party,
God.
and I was upstairs, and everybody else was downstairs living their
Threw the
best
party
life.
without you?
Yeah.
How?
Well, the family was already coming. I got them, that
no.
day.
Oh my God! And so you're upstairs or whatever,
Yeah,
listening to
confined to
your
the
party
bedroom.
go on downstairs.
Great party.
What?
Fantastic.
Huh.
It just
Gibbe.
happens. My 21st was pretty epic.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm trying to. I don't know. Every year, my parents, my mom made my birthday cake every year.
Wow.
Yeah.
She designed it.
Yep,
She
mine
made
did
it.
too.
She decorated it. It was always a theme, and she was unbelievable at it. And
Yeah.
she that was really awesome. I had some unbelievable cakes. And it was always my parents always made it a party, whether it was my sister's, mine. They went out of their way, and then they would do a kid party. I think the one time growing up, my dad took 8 kids to the fire station, and we got to climb on the trucks and everything, and that I remember
Solid.
that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Right around my birthday in '87, I was a ball boy for the Indians for a game.
Wow.
Come on.
Sat
Is that
sat on the
Corey
third base
Snyder?
line or first
Who's
base
in
line
mix
and in the
there on
bullpen.
that?
Yeah,
What do you get with the '87
Brooks
Indians?
Jacoby?
Who's in the mix?
there you go.
on.
Brooke Jacoby.
Brooke Jacoby?
I'm
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can get a couple of these guys, because the A's used to play. This was
Corey
in my...
Snyder had to be on that team.
Yes.
Corey
Joe
Snyder,
Carter
Joe
on that
Carter,
team?
Joe Carter was on that team.
a Greg Swindell.
My favorite player.
Yeah. And
And he was pitching that night.
Andy Allenson
Andy Allenson.
at the catching position.
Yep.
Got beaten up by Mark McGuire.
Really?
In a base brawl. Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
That's
How
probably...
does it make you feel
That might be it.
that we just named more 1987 Cleveland Indians than I could name 2023 Cleveland Guardians?
Okay.
I mean, for sure I could. I know more.
Yeah. Oh,
if I
yeah.
went to one game, I'm sure there's more people I know than I realize. But we just did 6. I don't think I could name 6 Guardians.
Was it Matt Williams around at that time, or
No.
Paul Sorrento?
Nope.
They're later. That's
yeah,
90s.
those guys were later. Pat Tabler.
That's 90s.
Pat Tabler, yeah.
Great Pat Tabler.
Doug Jones
Doug Jones was there.
throwing knucklers.
Yep. The closer.
Yeah, Doug Jones. Oh yeah, baby. McGuire
there
used
you
to
go.
like to take
Scotty
it deep,
Bales
baby.
and Rich Yett.
Rich Yett.
Yeah, they were
What's the year they're on the cover of SI?
86,
86?
I believe. Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah,
it
there was no
why
one at
not
the
Cleveland or
ballpark.
something?
There was no one there at Municipal Stadium. There might have been 5,000 people in a 73,000 baseball seat stadium.
Well, Major League was on last night. As I was watching the NBA, I was watching that in commercials. And boy, that's great.
Yeah,
And that's all that time period.
absolutely.
It all lines up. Yeah, fantastic.
My buddy got a bit roll. He was the guy at the beginning playing stickball. He was one who hit the ball.
Really?
With the
What?
kids playing in the street. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
They auditioned for people, but yeah, no, I
That's cool.
look, I appreciate it. It's weird now. I find
is.
it
I
to
don't
be
wanna do
weird.
it
I don't even know if it's just another day. I find it to be weird. I'm like, now what do I do? I'm
Oh, come
I'm
on,
46.
Gibbe.
You know?
Fine.
Well,
what do you mean?
Yeah, I think what it is it's like I'm kind of with you. I'm not big party guy.
No.
Now I know you are a big party guy, but I don't like a big to do about.
I'm not a big
Not
birthday
about
party
about
guy.
me. I like parties.
Yeah, I love parties.
I don't. I'll go to people's birthday parties. I enjoy those. Like, but I'm not. It's not.
Same.
Like God bless my wife. Woke up this morning. Wished me a happy birthday. Brought me a brand new golf club. Got me a new club.
What?
52.
Oh, a new gap wedge.
A new gap wedge, which is something I needed, and then some golf balls, and did her thing, and like celebrate a little bit. And she's like, "Go! It's like golf league night.
Yeah.
I got it. Like, go enjoy."
Gibbe's gonna be running wild tonight.
I don't know if
like
I'll be wild, but I'm gonna be hurting tomorrow.
By the way, I'm just sitting here. Gibbe's sitting on his couch, legs crossed, with Roxy nestled up to him. This is amazing. Like, this is the best thing. It feels like it's my birthday.
Everyone wins. with
Pretty
that
sure
scenario.
you're not supposed to be on the couch. Might be frowned upon.
You say.
You've moved in, Gibbe. This is you got security coming
house.
over and saying, "Oh, this is your place now, huh?"
What is it?
Lou
would it
actually
be
said that.
It would be pretty something if, like, you just stayed there.
Just to
and it
see
just
how long
became,
I
like,
could
your
go.
Vacation home. Just
I
to see how
kind of
long it
listen.
could come?
I'm all for it. Like once they say that we're back in there, I'm
We'll just
100%
stay here.
for it. Just we're good. We've got a new thing.
Yeah, you say.
We're good.
Yeah, like training camp house. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Training camp house. Look, we got the fireplace going today. A little extra heat needed. It's
I
wonderful.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for it. Did you guys watch the? Did you watch the hoop last night?
I did not watch the lottery, but I've seen the fallout.
Oh, I watched the lottery.
Did you watch the? Did you watch the actual game?
No,
No.
Really?
I saw the highlights this morning.
Same. Jokic is ridiculous.
Well, but how would you know if you didn't see?
Because I watched the highlights. That's why they have Sports Center.
They do still. It was so 1992. We're all old enough to remember this.
Okay.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals. This is Bulls Blazers.
Oh, yeah.
It is the first finals since
This one?
Magic's HIV. The Shrug. Yeah. Since Magic HIV, the Bulls had won the championship the year before by beating the Lakers in 6. The NBA was desperately trying to find someone who was a peer because Magic shockingly retired too early. Like Magic still could have gone. Those Lakers teams could have gone for a while longer, but had to retire due to the HIV. And so the next thing, and if you watch The Last Dance, it was obvious, well, and I think Jordan made more of a deal about it than anybody else, but that Clyde Drexler felt like, this Blazers team, the Lakers had taken him out. Jordan manufactured a villain in Drexler.
I know.
I can tell you, all of us are men. We're 40. There was no conversation about Clyde Drexler being a peer of Michael Jordan. Absolutely no.
No, he was
anybody.
Yes.
It was ridiculous thought that was the case. It was not in any way.
He was considered to be,
nice
after
player.
Jordan, one of the best two guards in the league. He was on the dream team, all of that, but never was considered the best player in the league. He was just a stud. Like Mitch Richmond kind of was that player.
That's what I was going to say. Like Mitch Richmond, there was a bunch of guys in that era that were those guys that were a head and shoulders below Jordan. It wasn't particularly close. Like he was a really nice player. It's a dream team player to your point, but he was not anybody that you thought you could build a championship team around. But Jordan manufactured all of this. So in the first half of Game 1, Jordan hit 6 threes. He had 35. This is the shrug game. So when he gives the shrug because Michael didn't shoot threes.
Nope.
His game, for the kids out there, his game was really, if you remember Kobe's game, it was basically Kobe's game. Kobe just stole it. It was mid-post, pull-up jump shots, and getting to the rim, and getting to the foul line. That's what he did. And so he hit 6 threes. Had 35 at half, which is still a finals record. And he does that shrug, and he does the shrug to Magic. Magic's on the call.
Yep.
And Magic says, whose game is it? It's Michael Jordan's game. I tell you all that because what I saw last night from Jokic was in the vicinity of that from a first-half dominant standpoint. It truly was. He had, 17 rebounds at half? He had a double-double at half. He had 8, 12, and 5 after the first quarter. He had 11 rebounds in the first 8 minutes of the game. He was absolutely dominant without having to shoot. He ignited every fast break. They were up between 10 and 12 for much of it. It jumped it all the way to 20. I actually watched all of it. I kept waiting for it to be over, but the Lakers fought back in the second half. They made some adjustments. They kept it close. They eventually got it. They had the ball with a minute left, down 3. At that point, Anthony Davis was unbelievable. He had 40 and 10.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable in the game. And it was up until the last minute, they fought all the way to make it close. And I think they have some adjustments that'll make it a very fun series. But it was a fun watch. It was a good one.
I mean, Jokic, every time I watch him or I watch highlights of him, I feel like we're watching by far the best player in the NBA. And I'm not sure who's even close to him. I mean, he just dropped.
You know what he reminds me of?
Who?
From a size, he's bigger. But there is a lot of bird magic in him.
Yeah.
There is this ability to do a lot of things elite. To shoot it, to pass it, to see the floor, to rebound it. Honestly, he's more even like LeBron than he is like Giannis. He's more of that.
He's a skill. He's a ginormous. He's like if Arvydas Sabonis came to the NBA in his prime and was also significantly more athletic than he was, because he was such a broad man. But I mean, to go 34, 21, and 14, go 12 of 17 from the floor, 3 of 3 from 3. He took 17 shots, scored 34 points, had 21 rebounds and 14 assists. I mean,
most of it was in the first half. He didn't score in the fourth quarter until the very end.
No, he had a triple-double in the third, right? He hit the triple-double in the third. He is – what I find is stunning is he can get his shot off of anybody at any time he wants, and he is so strong with the ball in his hands going to the basket. He's unbelievable, and you got to collapse on him.
Davis caused him some trouble with his length. Like, Davis blocked him a couple of times and caused him a little bit of trouble.
Not enough.
No, but Davis was superior. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He had 40 and 10.
40 and 10, yep.
And I think 3 blocks. He was sensational. So I think it's going to be a really good series, though, because the Lakers didn't do the thing you normally do, which is you get down 12 at half and then you just punt and get to a game 2. They actually used the second half. It was almost like experimental. Like, what lineups do we play against these guys? So I think that there's a chance it'll be a very good series. The second half was a lot of fun. The preamble to this was the NBA draft lottery, in which San Antonio landed the rights to Victor Wembanyama. So
sure, you still want that draft lottery?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Get out of here. Get out.
As soon as they hit the music?
Get out.
Oh, my God. When they hit the music and they started in the drama of every pick, the only thing that swapped is the 2 worst teams went from picking 1 and 2 to picking 4th and 5th.
Awful.
Great. I don't need him in Denver, or Detroit, rather. Why does Detroit – he doesn't need to go play in Detroit.
San Antonio's not like a great market, though. I thought he would
end market for him, though.
If they were going to do something, though, if they were shenanigans, he would have ended up in Chicago, right?
Or Houston. Houston's probably a more dynamic market for the NBA than Chicago is now.
Yeah.
Chicago hasn't signed a prominent free agent since when?
Right. Well, that's why you'd have to get him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't think Chicago's a destination in any way, shape, or form, but Houston is. I think that's probably – but you want to talk about shenanigans, there's off-the-court shenanigans there with that team. There's a lot going on. But San Antonio, you want to talk about best chance for him to succeed? Crushes it.
Yeah.
They'll nurture him. They'll take care of him. There's a little bit of juice because Tony Parker and Boris Diaw are French nationals, and he's a Frenchman. So there's a little bit of symmetry there.
Didn't they fly?
I think
they flew Windy to Paris, didn't they?
To do like a hit at 2 a.m.
He did a 70-second hit, and he wrote the story.
Atta boy, Windy.
Yeah, he's out there living.
That's crazy.
Living. When I was watching it, though, it was the only thing that was cool is like when Detroit came up at 5. I just didn't want him in Detroit. When he came up at 5, then you knew something relatively big was going to happen at that point, because that meant the worst team dropped all the way to 5th. So there was pretty good drama when that happened on live. I thought that was a lot of fun. I would love to see it in the NFL. Did you see the Woj comments?
No. Did he do the story like in the lottery room?
No. He was on television yesterday afternoon saying Wembanyama is the greatest prospect in the history of team sports.
Okay.
Oh, I saw your tweet.
Yeah, that's
Stop it.
It's ridiculous. He has so far to go to even – I mean, LeBron was said to be that guy. Charles Barkley, I was just watching something with Charles Barkley say LeBron James is the greatest sports story ever because he was hyped to be the king, and since the day that he stepped on the court, he has been great, and for 20 years he's been great.
Yeah.
Like, I don't – this
and
guy,
I saw people
come on.
say there was some questions about LeBron in 2003. Well, first of all, there was no question around Cleveland.
No.
Cleveland was taking LeBron James number one. He was anointed. There were some people, I think, for the sake of argument, who would say, like, are we sure we don't take Carmelo Anthony here? He just led Syracuse to a national title. But that was all, like, manufactured sports talk nonsense. Everybody knew LeBron was going one. It wasn't even within – there was no debate.
No debate whatsoever. And Carmelo did have that great run with Syracuse, and so maybe there was a little bit of talk. But people have to remember, too, and I don't know who said this on – somebody said this on Twitter, and I apologize for not giving them the proper credit. There was – First Take didn't exist back then. There weren't shows where there were debates
just
for the sake of debate on everything. So if under the exact same set of circumstances LeBron happened today, there would be debates of people saying why you couldn't take LeBron and why you had to take Carmelo, just because that's what those shows are. You need two people on opposing sides of things, and then they'll argue it. But back then, you didn't have – that wasn't the way that news was done. That wasn't the way that sports media was covered. And so you didn't have that. It was LeBron James. The end.
Beyond that, even if you don't want to use the LeBron one, there was another one in our lifetime that was a sure thing that whoever got it was going to be relevant quickly, and that was Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal, there was no debate.
Yeah.
And that was a good draft. Like, that had Leitner, that had Alonzo Mourning. There was no debate. When the Orlando Magic won the rights to draft Shaquille O'Neal, like that, we had seen him for 3 years at LSU. He was the most dominant force physically that you'd ever seen, because none of us saw Wilt Chamberlain. So there was no doppelganger for him physically. His athleticism, all of it. Like, this kid is 7'5", 200 pounds.
That's what I'm saying. He's a little bit of an outlier.
Give me the list of guys with that height, that build, that go.
What was Sean
I'm not saying
Bradley?
he won't.
7'7"?
Sean Bradley's 7'6". Yeah, he was 7'6".
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're talking about. Like, even Chet Holmgren, who's 7'1", like, he lost his year last year, the kid who played at Gonzaga.
Yeah.
And this kid's better than him, I get it. But physically, to say there aren't questions about him is just nonsense.
Right. I would even say the last guy that, remember, there were really Zion, I felt like there weren't a lot of questions about, and the guy hasn't played at all. I guess his body was the only question because he tore it out of a shoe.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really.
Duncan was known.
Duncan was known. I'd even go, when you said
Ewing?
NFL, when you said sure thing like that, I was thinking Andrew Luck was
Luck
what,
was a lock.
Total
Lawrence
lock.
had that feel.
Yeah. Luck was the one that was just definitely, there's no question he was going number one.
Sean Bradley was 7'6",
7'6".
275.
Yeah, Sean Bradley's a bigger guy. This kid's a guard. I mean, he's a center, right? But
He's a wing.
he's got a wing skills.
It's the new game.
I just think that right. What's amazing about LeBron is 6'7", 6'8", and 250? And he's built like a tight end, and so he's been able to have the longevity. This guy, to me, looks like somebody who is going to be awesome when he plays, and counting on him to play entire seasons feels wild. He's kind of built like Bull, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's like if Durant was taller by 6 inches.
By 6 inches. And Durant has been pretty
Banged up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I think when you get longer, and those limbs get longer, and those legs, especially in that knee, there's more. I don't know. I mean, this guy's got to think about, to be mentioned like that. We're all prone to hyperbole. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. But to be mentioned in that, for the kid, I think is even a tough situation. To know that, okay, so for the next 20 years, I have to be one of the three, if not the best player in the NBA for 20 straight years, and at the end of this be considered, whether it's Michael Jordan or whether it's me or LeBron, or maybe you could argue for a Kareem or a Wilt Chamberlain, as the greatest of all time.
It's what makes what LeBron has done and what he still has to deal with all the more impossible to comprehend.
Yes.
That he was anointed at 16, delivered on all of it, is the NBA's all-time leading scorer, exceeded even the wildest expectations for what was capable.
He over-delivered.
And still
Yeah.
somehow he's got to deal with critics. And it's like, my God, like, what more? What pound of flesh? I mean,
I'm sitting at
every
the
box.
undisclosed location with the biggest critic. I won him a championship.
Him and Skip Bayless, his boys.
Oh, whoa! Don't put me in that.
What do you mean? You were rooting against him, you hate him, and you'd have no thanks at all for the championship he brought you. The only championship, by the way, in your lifetime.
Then he left.
Until the Browns win a Super Bowl.
Again.
So what?
Your in-laws leave every winter.
Right.
Do you hate them?
No, I love them. And then I go to Florida and enjoy their company.
What a great line.
So do you.
What a great
Yeah.
line of questioning. Yeah, he's been there like 4 times.
3, but who's counting?
Yeah, exactly.
Easy there, vacation boy.
Vacation boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
my
like, hey, I'm out
goodness.
next week, and oh, by the way, there's second week in June, I'm going to be out again.
Yeah.
It's all
It's
good.
life in the
Gotta
big
do what
city.
You got to take it.
Yeah.
It's fine,
it
Bo.
was,
We'll handle it.
Bo's going to be
it
taking
was a-
vacation too, and I imagine you're not done taking vacations either, nor should you be, because starting July the 22nd, it's over, brother.
It's over July 11th when we get back.
Why is it over July 11th?
It's over.
There's nothing going on still on July 11th.
We are back to full speed ahead in studio.
I don't know about
That's
that.
our date.
Well,
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, I think we're going
I
to be
mean,
here.
frankly, I'll see it mid-August, but
We need to be July 22nd is when this season starts. And then it is we're going to
And that's
West
early.
Virginia. And that's early. Yeah.
Mountain Mama.
Yeah. No, July 11th is still
Take you
there's
home
nothing.
country roads, brother.
What's going to be different on July 11th than June 28th?
But we will be back. Like, things are going on. The following week, the 18th, that week,
Well, maybe that week, but not the 11th. 18th is at least the week that it starts. The 11th is safe.
you'll be here.
There's nothing going on.
You'll
I
be
think
here.
Maybe,
I'm
maybe
gonna
we'll take some
do-
vacation on the 11th.
I think for me, the start of the season will be the opener, the week of the opener.
For you,
That's when
perhaps.
you'll have my
Yeah,
attention.
I was gonna
That's when you'll
say.
have my attention. I don't care. I want to have. I'm excited for Hoff Week. I'm excited for
Half week, and I think we're going to have your attention for the what is considered the tune-up preseason game, right? Which would be
I won't have. I
Kansas
don't care
City?
about the game. I'm
Kansas
more interested in the.
City.
I'm more interested in the practices in Philly.
sure.
I think that will be very.
Are you going to
critical.
come? How
What those
interested
look
are
like.
you?
You guys are like family. Can't you just tell me what you see?
I think there's a spot
that
if you
work?
want to.
Come on to the city of brotherly love, dude. Me, you, Gibbe, brothers
Such a long
together.
Week. Good
Cheesesteaks.
Lord.
Gibbe said we're only there like 4 days or something like that. Maybe 5.
5.
Maybe 5. Come on, Gibbe said for his birthday.
Maybe
That's
a
all
week
he
and a half.
wants. That's
10
all
days.
Gibbe wants. He said.
10 days,
He
something
said,
like
"I
that.
want Bo to come to the city of
that.
brotherly love with me."
I want Stefanski to take us around.
That would be fun.
Like, go,
That
let's
would be
go.
fun.
Let's go.
You know what would
We're-
be cool would be as if we could get his dad too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get Ed to take us around.
His
town.
dad and I bonded over Elijah Moore. Let's go.
Yeah, that would be fun to cruise because coach is no fun in season. He's not going to be any
He's
fun.
gonna be locked in.
But there's
in.
that day,
You mean-
like if you have practice Monday, Tuesday.
yeah, but he's
Wednesday is
not
an
gonna,
off
he's
day?
not taking a day off. No. We need Ed. Get Ed to show us around Philly.
We
That's-
need
that's
Ed
the
and
operation.
Stefanski's friends.
Yeah, that's what we need.
you
That's
go.
what we need.
We need his crew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you need the crew, and then you'd get like a fun tour of the town.
Why don't we do that as our show that day? We'll just go around with them and we'll pod. We'll be live for 2 hours as we cruise around
Sold.
town. So you're in now.
You just tape segments around, going around.
Yeah.
That's it.
Liberty
That's how you do
Bell,
it. Yeah.
No, I don't need the sites.
where they sign the
Like,
Declaration of
give me-
Independence. We'll make a
give me the-
declaration. We'll have
give me the Stefanski growing up tour.
We should do the
Give
CBD,
me the local watering holes.
the Declaration of CBD from where they sign the Declaration of Independence, where we lay
like
out exactly what's going to happen this season. We declare it.
I like it. Now
Sure.
that I'm in for. That's it. I'm
Yeah,
in for that.
that's good.
I'll do that with you.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
We
Can't
can do
wait.
that.
That'll be a nice
fun.
logistical nightmare for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
We'll even
I don't
dress
think
up.
So we just time it up.
Yeah.
We'll just time it up.
Time it up.
No big deal, Gibby.
Yeah.
We'll just
No big
call
deal.
in.
You can't call in.
Watch us.
No, that show that day would have to be taped. We'd have to tape the segments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tape
throughout
like
the
8
day.
segments
Right. Well,
throughout the day.
at
and then
9:30, we're at the Liberty Bell. We ring it. Show has begun.
That's right.
That was the
And
Liberty
away we
Bell.
go.
Oh, no, it's cracked. Give it.
I didn't do it.
Oh, beautiful. All right, we've got
Writes
some news
itself.
on the gaming front we'll get to.
Oh,
Chris Jensen
yeah.
breaking down his top 40 quarterbacks. You have that to look forward to. A bunch of other fun along the way as well. We're off and running here. By the way, those are hot topics of the day presented by Vivid Seats. It's back.
Oh, baby.
It's back.
It's back, baby.
We're back.
There you go. And speaking of that, Browns fans, we're down to our top 5 designs for the new dog logo. Vote early and let your voice be heard. Be sure to rank your favorite logos. The top 2 vote getters will advance to the final round. 1 vote per day. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/dog logo to cast your vote. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Certainly a new way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns.
You're up.
A companion, Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. As we go around the sports world, EA Sports is letting college football players opt into the 2024 long-awaited version of the NCAA college football game. So what I think is going to be interesting here, they're using the same intermediary that the profession that they use for Madden and they use for the NBA, but they work just with unions. So there is no union as
Right.
it is right now in college sports. So I'm curious to know, like, are they going to go to each individual kid and say, send them everybody who plays Division I football and say, will you opt into this? I think it's going to be very tricky how this goes. I don't know that. I think the thinking was that this would be okay. Everybody's in the game, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think it's still a little bit of a sticky spot until they get a union and have some universal representation.
I certainly hope that you get everybody in there that you can. I feel like that would be a good thing. I'm excited for the game. I hope that the gameplay is excellent and that it pushes Madden to be better. That's something.
I always felt the college game was better than Madden.
Same. So I'm hoping that it can maybe make that happen. So
I find Madden year to year to be no different.
So
very little. It's such subtle differences. I don't notice. We get it every year for the kids.
Yeah.
And I don't play it much, but we hop on and I play it. And I'm like, okay, this feels like last year's version just with updated rosters.
It definitely evolves. The problem is that it evolves like 8 times during a season because it has what you would call the meta. And there are people who are professionals who just go in the lab, as they say, and can figure out all the routes that beat these coverages and blah, blah, blah. And then they make changes because, this one play is unfair, and then they change it back, and all these things that continue to happen. It's just that game is so – I feel like there are people who play Madden casually, and there are like the professional Madden players.
Shook.
And it's just – people who are watching, they subscribe. There are websites you subscribe to, and they give you a whole game plan out of each playbook. And if you're in this playbook, you run this play, you put this guy in motion, you audible his route to this, and then it breaks basically the AI's ability to handle the coverages. So it's a bunch of glitchy stuff. They need to just, I don't know. I wish it's almost like there should be 2 Maddens, like normal people Madden and then people that are doing all that stuff. Because it's funny when I play somebody who is playing kind of normal man that is not, doing any of the glitchy stuff, I'm very competent. I probably can win 80% of the time. As soon as I play one of the people who are doing they know how to make their blitzes and move people around so that nobody can be blocked because the AI can't handle it and all this nonsense. It's it's ridiculous. It's not even fun.
Yeah, that doesn't. There's not a whole lot of fun in that. It doesn't seem.
No.
I also thought at the college game versus Madden back in the day, it was the college game captured the feeling of college football more than the NFL. It captured all the warm and fuzzy things about college football.
Sure.
The pageantry. And it doesn't, to me, it almost feels like the Madden game, because a lot of these NFL places do have specific culture and pageantry, but it feels like every stadium you play in is the same. Even though they're different looking, there's no different feel to it to me.
I think they've done a better job in this most recent one of giving the stadium some feel and some of the chants that you'll hear, or when the Eagles score, they do their thing, or the train in Buffalo and all of that kind of stuff. So I think they have tried to do that, but I don't think there's anything that compares with the unique pageantry of college football. And so, I think that's something that you'll get, which will be awesome.
Where's this, Gibby? This Devontae Adams story? I missed this morning. Give me the background on this.
So he was on The Ringer. I'm pulling it up now.
So I saw this stuff when he was saying how, it'll say that he didn't need Aaron Rodgers. The numbers stayed the same. Basically, how great he is. That stuff.
So here we go. The front office thinks this is the best bet for us right now to put us in a position to be urgent, Adams said. He told The Ringer his vision of contending for Super Bowls is out of alignment with what appears to be a retooling or rebuilding offseason in Vegas. The front office thinks this is the best bet for us right now to put us in a position to be urgent, Adams said. We don't see eye to eye on what we think is best for us right now. Adams revealed the Raiders front office does listen to his opinions on personnel decisions, something he expressed gratitude about. He says, I'm going to have to buy into this and try to be as optimistic as possible. It's not what I expected to happen, but it's something that's the reality now.
I think fair. Like
Yes.
he went there to play with Derek Carr.
Yep.
Like that was his quarterback in college. So that's why he went to the Raiders. That's why that all happened.
But
So this was not in the brochure.
I got to say this. Like, the Raiders weren't good with Derek Carr, and you were in the same division as Mahomes and a guy named Herbert. Like, and then Russell Wilson was there. So I don't know if you knew you were going somewhere that might not be not even the second best team in your division. That's on you, buddy.
Well, but he was going to catch balls from his college quarterback.
Yes.
Ooh, congratulations. And don't tell me about winning, because that was definitely not in the
There was a thought that they were in the playoffs.
I would say this.
They've been a playoff team multiple times.
Gibby, I would say also in general, you are the most surprisingly pro-owner human I've ever met.
It is
You're
wild.
pro-boss everything.
It
Pro-boss,
annoys
pro-owner,
me
everything.
that players
That
want to
anyone
complain
questions
about
authority.
this stuff. Like, you signed a contract. Show up and play. Take care of your business, and you'll get rewarded. If not by the team that has your rights as a player, by another team in free agency. Quentin Williams, I saw today, is not happy about stuff. And I don't know what the Jets are doing, but it doesn't look like they're going to pick up his contract after this.
He's going to end up being the highest paid interior defensive lineman in
Yeah.
the league.
Okay.
Listen,
well, they've got Aaron Rodgers.
I think in the NFL, Gibby, I feel like in certain sports, and you don't see this as much in other sports, like certainly not in basketball because they sign fully guaranteed contracts. In the NFL, when your value changes and you have the leverage to make sure you're compensated at your value, I don't blame these players at all for doing it. And I don't like to talk about other people's money. Gibby, you want to take it out of their hands? But
he got paid. What are you complaining about?
Because his value has changed, and in the NFL, your career could be over in an instant. I think it's a very different sport, and I never begrudge players who have earned it wanting to get more money.
This doesn't.
Is this a money beef, or is this a beef about the direction of what he signed up for?
Yeah, this is a beef about the direction.
Well, you was talking about Quinnen Williams a second ago.
Oh, yeah, the Quentin Williams one. Yeah. The Devontae Adams thing, though, it's like
he's like, I came here.
This was not what I signed up for. Like, I came here because I thought Derek Carr was going to be here. And then you sent him packing.
Yes.
Yes. And obviously, the one thing that Carr has that Garoppolo doesn't is arm talent. So if you're Devontae Adams, you had 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns last year, you're going, those are probably going bye-bye.
Yeah, let's keep doing that. Well, I think with Garoppolo, he can still be productive. Deebo Samuel most certainly was. But it will be a very different manner in which he will be productive. And I think he's also looking around and he's saying, Jimmy Garoppolo was able to run Kyle Shanahan's offense at a very high level, and he's got familiar with Josh McDaniels, and that's fine and good. But those teams won because of their unbelievable ability to run the football, but then to be an incredible defense. One of the best defenses in the NFL, and that's why they were able to make it to the level that they were. And I think he's looking around and he's saying, it's so hard to imagine being, a team that's going to be able to win in that style in this AFC. It's an arms race. It's an air show. You've got to be able to throw the football. You've got to be able to light up the scoreboard. Yeah. And I think that I'm sure he's looking at it and saying that we got a guy who has been an incredibly efficient game manager, who has been a winner, no doubt about it, but is not somebody that we think is going to consistently light up the scoreboard.
Right. And statistically, neither will I.
Correct.
So, yeah. There's that part of it. Chris Sims has started his top 40 countdown, quarterback countdown. He's through 6. He's through 4. I know he's through 6. He's got Desmond Ridder 40, Sam Howell 39, and then he goes with the rookies. Of course, in classic Chris Sims fashion, he goes Bryce Young, who's kind of universally the number 1. He has him 3rd. Then Stroud and Richardson. Does he have Levis ahead of him too?
He stopped there. The rest, the next set is coming out today.
He must.
And
I'm assuming.
It goes back to my point. You're the Falcons. You have a chance to get a quarterback or to make a move for a quarterback or to do something to try to change your fortunes. And instead you're like, we're good with the 40th quarterback out of 40, and we're going to draft a running back when we have a guy on a rookie contract who just ran for 1,000 yards and 5 yards a carry. I still don't understand.
I believe you had all of that.
One of the most ridiculous drafts of all time.
I saw somebody said it really well that he goes, Bijan Robinson is an exceptional talent. It's an offense that will absolutely utilize his skill set, and it has brought the Falcons no closer whatsoever to winning a Super Bowl.
Correct. Yes. That does it.
Yep.
Both now or in the future.
Yep.
The crazy thing is without a quarterback, what Bijan would have been good at and could have been maybe something that could have put somebody over the top that was already good, that was just lacking that type of playmaker. Until you have that quarterback, he's going to be worn out by the time the quarterback gets there. Unless
or they're
going
to be keeping him fresh. He's going to play in the slot, and they're going to have Algier and him on the field and all of that and yada, yada, yada. Okay.
They still need Caleb Williams, or they need Drake May, or they need Quinn Ewers. They have to have somebody of that arm talent.
My guess is if they're competitive early, which I certainly think that they can be, my guess is that maybe when Tennessee is out of it, that Arthur Smith tries to make a minor trade and brings Tannehill in. And then they're a legitimate team in the NFC who can absolutely go to the playoffs. They still are, again, no closer to winning a Super Bowl even with Ryan Tannehill, but at least they have a chance to.
They could win the division.
They could win the division, and if all the ball bounces the right way, you maybe can take out a Niners team. I don't think you win the Super Bowl, but who knows? At least that's something.
Yeah.
But you still didn't need. You could have done that with just getting Ryan Tannehill alone without Bijan Robinson would have done that for you.
Correct. Right. It doesn't change things in any way, shape, or form. Right. We want to get to Siaki Ika here, Gibbe?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We will do that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Cleveland Browns 2023 schedule is here. Get your single game tickets now for all the great matchup at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets to purchase today. We head back to the podium from rookie minicamp, a guy who's got to go, defensive tackle Siaki Ika. Let's have a listen.
For your first impressions of being out here with Jim, too?
It's fun, real fun. I like him a lot. He's fun guy to be around. Makes practice fun.
So where were you when you heard about the Darius trade? What do you think of that, and how excited are you to have him join the team?
I'm real excited. I was just in my room, or actually I think I was here. I was either here or in my hotel room, but real excited about it. You know, someone else who's been through everything to learn from. So
He's a guy that, you know, he was a kind of a mid-round pick, you know, like you. How much, you know, when you see a guy like that succeed, how much can that sort of serve as an inspiration, you know, and having a guy like that soon in the locker room to kind of pick the brain of? I mean, how much does that help you?
Gets me excited, real excited. You know, kind of where for what I want for myself in the future. So, you know, seeing someone like that and also being able to, like I said earlier, to learn from someone like that, I'm real excited.
What have you picked up about this scheme now that you've sort of had a couple weeks to study it and actually get out on the field a little bit?
Real fast, explosive, and vertical. A little bit different than what I've been used to. I've been playing a lot of blocks throughout college. It's all I pretty much know. So, you know, being able to get here and be in a system where it's just everything goes forward, vertical. You know, just disrupt. Real excited about it.
You feel like you have an idea of what Jim meant when he said you're going to be a Ferrari?
Oh yeah, I know now for sure.
So
I know.
What you're as a Ferrari? Describe us you as a Ferrari.
Well, just like I said, everything's explosive. You know, just being explosive, getting off the ball, getting vertical, rather than just eating stuff up like a dump truck. I don't want to be a dump truck no more.
So what were your first impressions of DeJuan? And, you know, just really even from a size standpoint, too. And how much are you looking forward to kind of going head to finish?
Oh, that's a big man. I mean, I thought I was big. That's ginormous. So just excited to be here as well. You know, another guy who's as big as me that I'm going to be able to go head-to-head against here in practice in the future.
The coaches, you know, in this camp are real hands-on with you guys, which is probably usually something they don't get the opportunity to do when the full roster is here. Just how much do you appreciate the, I guess, the hands-on teaching aspect that you're able to go through this weekend?
Oh, I appreciate it a lot, especially because, you know, it's a new scheme for me and something I'm not used to. So having the coaches there, you know, being real hands-on and being able to, you know, walk me through everything, the different techniques, makes it, you know, makes practice that much better.
How well have you gotten to know Isaiah McGuire yet? You guys in this meeting rooms, have you gotten?
Yeah, in the meeting rooms, I think we're slowly starting to, you know, kind of break the ice with everyone. Everyone's getting a little bit more comfortable in the room. I think the nerves are starting to, you know, come down a little bit. So I know him a little bit, you know, working to get to know him better, but he's a hell of a player.
Did you notice him on the field yesterday?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's doing a lot of great things, especially, you know, in the scheme. You know, I can tell he'll fit in well.
Are you kind of eager to put on the pads and get going, or not?
Yeah, for sure. Real eager. But, you know, obviously right now it's just back to fundamental work and, you know, knocking the rust off, like I said earlier. So I'm excited to get into some pads, but I'm excited to also, you know, be able to take things a little bit slower and learn things more.
What's the first part of your game, now that you've kind of gotten in the building and you've been around the coaches, been on the field once or twice here? What's the most important part of your game that you realize that you have to refine right away so that you can, you know, contribute?
Probably my ability to get off the ball and get vertical quickly. Like I said, it's not something I've been, you know, familiar with before. So now I think it's real important that I, you know, shed a little bit more weight, get a little bit faster so I can move side to side, run sideline to sideline.
Have you had conversations about you mentioned shedding the weight? Have you, and body composition? Have you had those conversations with the Browns, and just what's the feedback?
Yeah, a little bit. We're kind of playing with it right now. They kind of see where they kind of want to see where like how heavy I can be without losing, you know, any mobility or anything. So we're kind of playing around with it right now, seeing where they want me to be at.
How different do you think that will be going from, you know, the guy that takes 2 blocks to just attacking up the field? And is it something you think will be a big adjustment you're looking forward to?
Yeah, it's going to be a big adjustment. I mean, it already has been a big adjustment for me, but it is something I enjoy. It's something I'm really excited for. In college when I was playing blocks, looking to take double teams, this is a scheme we were wishing for. So now that it's here, I'm really excited to get in and get some work.
Will it be easier on your body than not taking on 2 blockers?
Oh yeah, it should be. Should be a lot easier.
How valuable was that though? That you kind of played in the system where you had to take on blocks. What did you learn doing that?
I learned the importance of my position, the importance of being a nose, and how valuable I was to the team. Now it is a little bit different, but I still provide some value if I can do my job.
It's fundamentals right now, but even yesterday, you heard the coaches kind of getting guys going, and getting in your ear and making sure you're doing the right thing. What you expected? You expect it to be like so quick, so fast, or was there a different expectation for you early on?
It is what I expected. I expected to come in and hit the ground running. A lot of throughout the whole process, coaches and stuff are talking about how important it is to come in shape and be ready for whatever it is they may throw at us. So it is a bit of an expectation. I did expect it.
All right, coming up at the top of the hour, old buddy Matt Waldman, rookie scouting portfolio, to chat about our rookie class. That is coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet. Coming soon to Ohio, 1-850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily. Let's head out on that Twisted Tea hotline for our good buddy Matt Waldman, rookie scouting portfolio.
You're up.
He likes our draft classes quite a bit. We remember the Nick Chubb conversation from years ago. And, Matt, it's always a pleasure having you on. Let's just dig right in. This draft class as a whole, we got to look at him finally last week at rookie minicamp. What did you make of what Andrew Berry did, albeit hamstrung, no first or second round picks?
I mean, overall, I like some of the things that they did. Most of all, I would say that I'm a fan of, some of the players, and specifically like Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. I like the idea that they got what they got potentially out of Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and even in the free agent signings, the kid Greeny, the tight end Greeny, I think is a very interesting prospect who could develop into something good.
Talking with Matt Waldman. You can get his post-draft guide now, breaking down every player taken, how they fit on their team at mattwaldmanrsp.com. Matt, let's talk about Cedric Tillman first. We got a chance to see him up close. Looks like your prototypical number one receiver. Great size. He catches the ball effortlessly. We all know he had that big 2021 season. What did you like about Tillman when you put on the tape?
Well, I think you see a consistent player at the catch point, and oftentimes NFL teams can get so enamored with size and speed and what may be a highlight-worthy looking play. Someone like, say, Romeo Doubs, who had a really nice camp for the Packers last season, but everything up to the catch point was good, and then at the catch point it was kind of like a box of chocolates. Never quite knew what you were going to get out of them. Same thing with a guy like Gabriel Davis, where you can fit them into an offensive scheme, and they might be able to do good work for you as that third option. But Tillman's the type of guy that whether he's using strong technique, which he usually does at the catch point, or he can't always use perfect technique, which is a common thing that happens in the pro game when you have to position yourself and make a late play on a ball with tight coverage. You're not always going to have perfect hands position to attack the ball. Tillman does a good job catching the ball regardless. And then on top of that, you can see the development potential there as a route runner because he can drop his weight and make sudden stops. He understands how to sell the vertical aspect of the route, which really is the part that sets up everything you do during the stem so that you can, get the defender to turn his hips and run downhill because you want every route to look like a potential go route. And Cedric Tillman understands how to do that. He's done it against tight man coverage in the SEC with top athletes who can play at the NFL level. And, overall, you also get a player who's efficient after the catch. So really down the line, you could see Tillman as a guy who might one day be able to replace Amari Cooper as the main guy in Cleveland's offense and also make a very good secondary option on this team within a year or two.
High praise there. Matt, if he doesn't get hurt last year, where does he land?
I mean, I think probably because optics are a big driver of draft position, not talent, because really, we all understand when we're making decisions and we have to be accountable to the media or to the public in whatever fashion that is and whatever business you're doing, you have to cover your assets. And part of covering your assets is a healthy player with strong production year after year after year. So from the talent perspective, he deserved to be one of the top 3 to 5 receivers in this class.
All right.
But from that other perspective, yeah, I mean, you're right. Probably not going to be a guy, he fell to where he did, mainly because, somebody didn't want to explain that they drafted a guy who got hurt in the first round.
Yeah.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson, actually his high school quarterback, he being Cedric Tillman, out there at Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. I got to tell you, Matt, we've got a chance to talk with him and see him around here. What an impressive young man. You saw the evolution of his game over his time at UCLA. He basically was that offense, career high, nearly 70% completions his last season. What do you like about him? And I'll tell you what, we have that extra a preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, because of Joe Thomas here. I'm just excited to see him play. He feels like a highlight film every time, but it felt like he got a little more refined. Would you agree with that? And what do you like about Dorian Thompson-Robinson potentially as a long-term backup option to Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance here with Thompson-Robinson to become a good journeyman starter in the NFL, where you can bring him aboard and he can be a bridge between a veteran that you let go or a rookie prospect that didn't pan out after a year or two, and you need somebody to help your team compete and and then be there when you do draft in an early round. Maybe he can become more than that and become a second contract starter. For that to happen, I think he's going to have to become a little bit more confident and less streaky with certain downfield throws. You see moments with him where he does a really good job of moving in the pocket and delivering the ball and understanding where the ideal leverage is with the defender's position on a receiver and letting that ball go. And you obviously see that he can create, and that's, in the red zone, you see some really nice playmaking ability there. And so overall, I think that he's going to compete. If I was basing it solely on what I saw on film in college, I would say I would prefer Dorian Thompson-Robinson to Kellen Mond. And I would say that Robinson could possibly compete with Joshua Dobbs. I think you guys brought him back, if that's correct. So you guys brought him back, and he had a nice showing. The rocket scientist, had a nice showing in Tennessee, in addition to what he did late in the preseason for you guys, last year. And I think that's a wise choice because I was never really high on Kellen Mond. Maybe he's improved, but I think that the addition of Robinson, the reuniting of Dobbs probably is the writing on the wall here, is that maybe some of your coaching staff's buddies in Minnesota may have said some nice things or liked Kellen Mond, but they didn't stick with him either. So I imagine that Robinson's probably going to be the number 3, and they'll keep 3 quarterbacks on this roster unless Thompson-Robinson really does a great job right off the bat and competes so hard with Dobbs that they let both those guys go. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Dobbs is going to be the number 2.
In terms of Thompson-Robinson, before he becomes a spot starter around the league, if he does eventually evolve into that, I think obviously what you're hoping for is that he becomes the next 3 to 5 years, the backup to Deshaun Watson. From a skill set standpoint, not saying that he has the gifts that Watson has, but just from a skill set standpoint, can he get to where they can run a lot of the similar stuff with him as they run with Watson?
Oh, without a doubt, because really, when you look at Watson, the strengths of Watson's game, he reads the field well. When people talk about arm strength, they really only think of it in one dimension, and then they apply it to every other dimension that's possible with what really arm talent is. And with Deshaun Watson, we know he can throw the ball a mile, and if you ask him to put air under the ball, he's going to be able to throw the ball and lead fast receivers to run under it, and that's great in the deep game. What he doesn't have is that velocity where you're going to ask him to throw, the opposite hash, 20-yard deep comeback against, tight man-to-man coverage on 3rd and 17, and that ball's got to be right exactly where the receiver's hands are coming up with the defender glued to him. He doesn't have that kind of velocity. So as we saw in Houston, we're going to see in Cleveland for a full year now, you're going to see a player who a lot of what they do is not trying to throw those low trajectory, line drive type of throws. And I think Thompson-Robinson is a similar arm, maybe has potential to develop his arm a little bit more, but I think overall you're really looking at a player who's going to throw in the middle of the field, who's going to be able to put air under the ball deep. And, at this stage of Watson's career, maybe we'll see a little bit more athletic, displays out of him this year now that he's got a full off season, with the team and he's back getting some of the rust off. But I think with Thompson-Robinson, you're looking at him. He reminds me of kind of a player between Lamar Jackson as the ceiling he's never going to probably reach, and doesn't have quite that level of athletic ability. And then a long-term journeyman like Josh Johnson, who played at the University of San Diego with Jim Harbaugh as his coach, who's been around the league forever as like kind of a number 3 that teams could bring on and know that he's not going to completely kill the team in a game if they have to put him in. And I think Robinson can be a better version of Josh Johnson, and that means that he's going to be able to execute this offense if you need him to.
Yeah, it makes him a good value pick in the 5th round as well. Talking with Matt Waldman from the Rookie Scouting Portfolio. Again, visit his website, mattwaldmanrsp.com, to get his post-draft guide now breaking down every player taken and how they fit on their team. Here's somebody who wasn't drafted, and you've been so good with us on running backs. Nick Chubb, we referenced that earlier. I'm curious if you refresh our memories of what you thought of Jerome Ford, but Hassan Hall from Georgia Tech is somebody that, as there's a little bit of buzz here, and I think there's a healthy and wide open competition for the third running back on this roster that he has a chance to insert himself into.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because I really enjoyed watching his game. He was among the top 25 running backs on my board in a pretty good class this year. And I believe he was really closer to inside the top 20. Good return specialist, very confident, being able to, hit creases downhill, good pass receiver. I think, on draft day, one of the things that I mentioned, I believe on Twitter, was when you look at his game overall, you can see that he makes decent decisions between the tackles that can get a little bit better. Maybe he can get a little bit stronger, maybe add a little explosion to the mix. And if he does, you might have just gotten yourself the next kind of Dearness Johnson project here, a guy who can really develop into a meaningful contributor if needed. Yeah. And I think that Hassan Hall is a more developed and refined running back than what Dearness Johnson was coming out of South Florida. So, good looking running back out of Georgia Tech who can do a number of things for you. I would be shocked if he isn't the number 3 running back on this board, because John Kelly is a rugged player but doesn't have a lot of explosion. So if Haskins can contribute on special teams, and I believe he can, he has more physical upside.
Real quick, Matt, just to, because we took Jerome Ford a year ago, I'm sure we asked you about him a year ago, but what was your thoughts on him coming in and the type of player he could be now that he'll have potentially, he'll have a much bigger role this year here?
Absolutely. I liked him a lot. I think that you're looking at a runner who can be a lead back in the NFL. And, he had a good showing on special teams last year. Didn't get a lot of looks because obviously he had 2 excellent running backs ahead of him, but he's someone who can run tough. He's not a huge tackle breaker, but he's someone that can bleed, through contact to really, help push a pile. He's someone that you have to wrap him up and deliver a hit for him to go down. You're not just going to arm tackle this guy. He certainly has some pass-catching skills that you like leaking out of the backfield. He's going to be helpful to you in the screen game with some plays out in space. He can do that job competently. I think he's a good cutback runner who makes strong decisions and is creative enough to be able to make plays when things don't go perfectly well as blocked and still be able to do it efficiently so that it doesn't lose yardage. And that's one of the things that Nick Chubb is the absolute best at in the league. I mean, people always talk about Nick Chubb as if he's like old, outside of Cleveland. You hear a lot of people sometimes talk about him like there's, Saquon Barkley athletic ability and Nick Chubb is just a smart, tough runner. But it's really that, Saquon Barkley is a raw Nick Chubb. I mean, if we're going to be really honest here, because it's about managing the game and understanding how to create in situations where the risk of a big loss is eliminated and you're turning lemonade out of lemons, basically taking lemons and turning into lemonade on a consistent basis. And Chubb does that great. And there are very few backs who can read the third level and basically read the third level as they're entering, approaching the line of scrimmage and be able to do what he does. He makes his blockers better. Very rarely does a running back do that. And I think Jerome Ford has some potential to do some of that, just maybe not quite on the level that Chubb does because there's only one.
Yeah, Nick Chubb, he is elite. Matt Waldman, he called it before he ever put on a Cleveland Browns uniform what Nick Chubb would become, and certainly you were right on the money on that. This question is maybe not going to be as fun for our listeners, but I am curious. Looking around the AFC North, were there any particular fits that you loved or guys that you think Browns fans are going to need to keep their eye on, whether it be for their own benefit in fantasy football or just guys that you're going to need to know and have to deal with going forward here in our division?
Sure, like in a couple of years, maybe this year with Joe Mixon probably on his way out at some point. Chase Brown, the running back out of Illinois, he's a good fit for what they want to do. He's explosive enough. He's not as talented as Mixon, but he can help them. Charlie Jones, when Boyd, basically their slot receiver Boyd, goes, his contract's over. Jones is a more explosive player and is a tough slot receiver. When you look at Pittsburgh overall, the most intriguing guy to me, who I was always high on and just hasn't worked out, but he had a heck of a run in the XFL, is Hakeem Butler. Him and Calvin Austin are players that, on a Steelers receiving core may not contribute this year, especially with them bringing in Allen Robinson, still having Johnson and Pickens and all that. But, Calvin Austin, to me, was what Wan'Dale Robinson was touted to be, but better and may have more outside games. So I'm interested to see how much of an impact he has. And Butler, to me, is such a physical presence in the slot that if Darnell Washington doesn't work out, that's fascinating. Of course, Zay Flowers, what he brings with the Ravens, adding Odell Beckham to the mix, if they can get some healthy games out of Beckham and it works out and they spread the field, Flowers could have some huge run there. So it's always a tough division. That's what makes it so much fun. And I think though the Browns, what they have up front, and what they have with Watson entering year 2, I think that you have to look at Cleveland as one of the favorites to win this division, because I still think Pittsburgh's a year away, a couple years away. I think Cincinnati is kind of up and down, if you ask me, especially with, and then when looking at Baltimore, can they rebound? I think Cleveland's probably one of the more stable teams in this division.
Let's go.
Music to our ears, Matt. I'll tell you that. Get the post-draft guide now, breaking down every player taken, how they fit on their teams. Matt Waldman, RSP.com. Matt, thank you so much for the time, as always, my friend. We greatly appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Matt Waldman, Rookie Scouting Portfolio, calling on the Twisted Tea hotline. A lot to be excited about there for Browns fans in terms of some of our young guys coming in. Some big news in the sports media world coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. the last time with Renew Home Exterior Siding and Roofing Products. Both
You're
Renew Home Exteriors. Don't spend all day with high-pressure sales guys. The team at Renew will not waste your day with hours of negotiating. In fact, Renew offers an upfront price. It's fair. It'll make your project easy. And this month, you can take advantage of pre-pandemic pricing, plus no interest or payments for 24 months. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products, superior service. Visit renewestimates.com for more. As we go around the sports media world, Pat McAfee is bringing his weekday sports talk show to ESPN this fall as part of a multi-year deal. The network's announced it Tuesday at the network upfronts. The Pat McAfee Show will air live weekdays simultaneously on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ESPN's YouTube channel. ESPN will also announce the new weekday afternoon schedule before the show is launched this fall. SportsCenter will continue to be included in the schedule. McAfee said during ESPN's presentation to the advertisers, the upfronts on Tuesday, that he wouldn't swear, quote, nearly as much once his show moves to ESPN, but the substance and style of the show would not change despite his new home. In fact, saying, quote, we ain't changing a damn thing. Every other word is good to go. We won't be doing that because it's the middle of the day, but everything else will be good. We'll see. We'll see. This is a curious move.
Yeah, because he's walking away from 2 years remaining that would be reportedly worth $60 million with FanDuel. That's the part that's hard for me to get my head around. Dan Le Batard, who certainly understands what it's like to be at ESPN and left to maintain creative freedom on his show, said, giant heartfelt congratulations to Pat McAfee Show. Don't let anyone change you, Pat, or how you dress, or how you curse, or how you succeed, or how you do you, or how you do your show. You've done the hardest thing your way. You've built a beast. Do not let anyone tame it.
That is
that
should be a big concern.
And he may not
Dan
care.
would know this because Dan did this. Dan, when ESPN hired Dan to replace Coward, I believe, right? Wasn't that how it worked?
Yep.
Coward went to Fox, and then Le Batard came in. And Le Batard's brand, I mean, especially 15 years ago, I mean, Le Batard's show was a phenomenon, and it is now too in the podcast world. It still is, but they're definitely butted heads consistently with ESPN management on what they could or could not say on that show. Kornheiser dealt with this when he was at ESPN. Like, this has been going on for forever, and both of those guys are far more, for lack of a better term, tame than McAfee is. So how does McAfee maintain what made him great while being at ESPN? I think the other big part of this is, I think if from a McAfee perspective, he is essentially now locked in as a permanent college game day guy. So you want to talk about a gig, that's a gig. That's a couple million a year. That's Saturdays in the fall. Like, if the Pat McAfee Show comes and goes, he can replace Corso on game day and do that for the next 20 years and make a great living and have a great lifestyle and be one of the co-faces of college football. This also allows for him to do the Manning Cast, the college football Manning Cast version thing that Omaha Productions does. So it allows him to do that on Saturday nights. So I think there was a lot to this. Look, it is hard damn work doing a daily radio show that is yours. And you control everything about it. It's hard. And it's a lot of content that you're churning and creating on a daily basis. And there's a grind to that. It's possible that he's looking beyond the Pat McAfee Show and a life that is a little bit more of a lifestyle that's conducive to what he wants as he ages. And ESPN provides that.
Sure. And I think part of, part of making it, and it's funny that, Dave Portnoy, as an example from Barstool, they built that. They sold out to Penn. He is worth, tons of millions of dollars now as a result. And people are like, you sold out and, you're not the same as yours. He's like, yeah, I did sell out. That's the goal. What I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. When you start a business, you think of your exit strategy. Exit strategy is selling out. How do I monetize this in the greatest way possible? Yeah. And that's what it is. So on some level, now what the money part is the interesting thing to me, in the sense that you had your deal, with FanDuel that had 2 more years on it. Could you have done this in 2 years? But it sounds like, other things were more important, I'm guessing. And yes, you have this stability. And to him, this may be, and you're right, it could be a 10-year deal where it's all guaranteed and locked in, and So then he's like thinking to himself, all right, I got this gig for the next 10 years, and then I'm good. It'll evolve to what it evolves to, because it's going to evolve on ESPN. His show will evolve.
For sure.
And that could be fine. It could make it better in some ways. It could make it worse in others. We'll see, part of the tough part for him, I would say, is that there are a lot of people who don't understand or like the quote-unquote people who sell out. They liked it when, Pat McAfee was the man of the people, and he was this, and he did whatever he wanted to, and then now he's gone corporate, and people don't like that. But you should like it, because he's made it in the face of incredible adversity. I'll go back to when we were in Indianapolis. He was doing it on a folding table, like just a normal table, no production value, no TV, no cameras, sitting around dressed in the same tank top he does it in today. And now he's taken that, what he was doing, and made it into a monster, and so he's going to be rewarded for that. Good for him.
Yeah. I see the sides of it. I'm with you on there must have been something that he just felt like he couldn't do anymore.
Oh, he just had a baby.
To make him do this now. Yeah.
You
own a business too, right, Gibby?
Yeah.
You own it, and you're responsible for all these people and their health insurance, their benefits, their the HR part of it. Like, there's a lot to it when you're running something like that. And it's possible he just didn't want that headache anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I just what Lebitard said is totally true.
If he cares, ultimately.
Yeah. And look, the man has made his money. He's done very well. Like we talk about, he walked away reportedly from $60 million. Well, he made $60 in the first 2 years of that deal. So, just know, like, whether or not you think the content is going to be controlled, it ultimately is, because the Mickey Mouse brand controls everything when you're under contract.
Yeah, and I think too, like the other part of it, like, you think about the long-term sustainability of it. So much of that show's astronomic rise was Aaron Rodgers.
Sure.
Coming on once a week. That was a huge part of that show going nuclear.
Yep.
Was that. And so that won't be there. And, I don't know. I think I get it. I see both sides of it. I see, like, if you wanted to get, extract everything from the original deal. I also see, I'm good. I made mine. I'm going to, by the way, the reports on this, he's making upwards of 10 a year on this.
Yeah.
So it's not like we don't need to start a GoFundMe. He'll be just fine.
Just fine.
Now, it is interesting that whole supporting cast. I mean,
I'm sure he took care of all of them.
Maybe. I mean, ESPN's in the process of laying off like 7,000 employees or 700 employees.
They're in the process
of
they're laying off people who are not one-man IP creators.
Well,
that's what they're laying off. They're laying off producer, stuff like that. They're not laying off Stephen A. Smith.
Correct. But so he's fine. But, like, how many of his supporting cast gets to go when they're laying off?
I bet all of them. I think he would say all of them, or else I don't go if they don't go. I bet everybody who's on his show is on his show.
Including
it's not like they don't have the money.
Linebacker guy? Ohio State guy.
I don't know about AJ. I don't know.
What
I would
AJ?
think. I don't know if AJ, because AJ would be represented separately from the rest of McAfee's guys. Like, AJ has his own successes, so I don't know that I'm not sure what if they will. But ESPN does the freelance agreements with a lot of people. They did it with Chris, Mad Dog Russo's got the freelance agreement with them. When my buddy Bobby Carpenter was going, he wasn't an employee. That was a freelance deal where he would pop into Bristol and do shows and stuff. So,
and that's how a lot of their radio weekend and radio talent is.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they could do that with AJ too. Like, just give him a freelance hit to do that show and not make him an employee.
Who pays?
I'm guessing they're still. Go ahead.
What happens, and I'm sorry about that, what happens if Aaron Rodgers says, I'll do your show, but now it costs more money because it's ESPN, and I know ESPN has the money? I mean, I feel like you got to put him on. He's the QB of the Jets in New York.
If he still wants to, yeah.
Yeah.
I think inevitably if you're McAfee, you have to be able to stand on your own without that, though. If you have a show, it's going to have to be the other way, and he does. So
yes.
I I think it's definitely gonna have a different tone though. To your point, Gibby, than it did.
Yes.
There's no question about that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're fooling yourself if you think otherwise.
And he just might be totally okay with
Yeah.
it. I mean, clearly he is. He signed the deal. Will he regret it at some point? I don't know. But I think ultimately he's done such a good job that he gets to decide what he ends up being happy with or not, I think. I mean,
he wins no matter what. He's won as big as you can win. He bet on himself in every way.
Yep.
And he's won as big as you can win.
Yep.
Hey, we've got a little golf tomorrow.
This came out of
it's still
nowhere.
odd for me.
The PGA's right now? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird. We'll get to it coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. And for a team of injury lawyers, You're up. Client every day. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. PGA Championship starts tomorrow.
Too early. Don't like it.
Love it.
You get just cramp. And then you got PGA. Then you've got on Father's Day U.S. Open, and then the Open, and then it's over. And
we're not going to have time to watch golf in August.
I know. I just think it's too soon. It doesn't feel
agree
right.
with you more. No, I don't like it at all. It doesn't. It feels like they shoehorned it in here.
Yeah.
I think they shrunk the calendar of golf's relevancy to the average golf fan, the casual golf fan. You basically casual golf fan is done with golf at the Open. Like that's the end of the year. You're not paying. Casual golf fan doesn't care about the FedEx. They don't care about any of that. So
it means
it's done. You're done.
And it means Father's Day is the last major championship contested in this country.
Right.
And that's
you're done.
Middle of June.
I think they overthought it. I think they wanted to get away from the NFL preseason. And look, I know everybody watches the NFL preseason, but not really.
Yeah.
The NFL preseason, unless you're like us and you have to watch every down, every play, is something it's a second screen sport. It's not a primary screen sport. You can have NFL preseason on in the second screen. You can have the PGA Championship on your main screen. I think they botched it. I think this thing is gonna be largely forgotten. It was by me. I didn't realize it until beginning of the week. I'm like, oh my God, we got to talk golf this week. I forgot that it was even happening. Or the venue. It's at Oak Hill, which is outside of Rochester.
It's look, Oak Hill's an awesome track. Shout out to our guy David Bass, who's always trying to get us to come out there. It's an awesome course. Justin Thomas.
Now, who's this guy?
Champion.
This is the first time hearing of a Mr. Bass.
You know him. He's the New York State Trooper.
He's
wear
willing to take us
I wear
to
the
Oak Hill.
quarter zip.
We got the quarter zip, yeah.
Well, I know the quarter zip, but I didn't realize he's got hookups at.
I didn't either.
You got to go to Oak Hill.
Yeah.
Sold.
It's
fantastic quarter zip, by the way. I get compliments every time I wear it.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr.
fantastic.
Bass.
Yeah.
I was watching the Golf Channel last night, a little bit in between, and they had the guy. They renovated it, right? So this is what's happening at a lot of these places. They did the same thing at Scioto down, which is I think is Scioto and Alistair McKenzie. It's Nicholas touched it up, but it's one of the legendary guys from way back who did Scioto. And one of the things that they're doing at a lot of these tracks is they're trying to get back to the original drawings of it. So what's happening is what's happened with a lot of these greens at these places, they've all basically become circles. And they're getting back to like these amoeba-looking greens, which is what they were designed to be 100 years ago when the courses were designed. So he did this at Oak Hill. So there's some very specific changes that he made to the green pattern. The other thing that they're doing is because these courses, and this makes people upset that belong at certain clubs, they're taking down trees
everywhere
by the hundreds.
Yep.
And the reason they're doing it, because nobody wants this. Like they took down a bunch at our place, and I was like, oh, this sucks. Where's the tree line, all the tree lined holes and all of that.
Yep.
But basically, what's happened over the last 30 years or so is you've got a bunch of turf that can't grow correctly because it doesn't get enough sunlight.
Yep.
And so this is what's happened. So they did like this Oak Hill. Now they took down a ton of trees in order to get the turf to be something that continued to be grown. But it's changed the course. It's changed the view of a lot of courses. There's a ton around here, Central Ohio too, they've taken out a ton of trees.
Well, and somebody said to me as well that, when these courses were designed, there weren't that many trees. A lot of the trees that have sprouted up on these courses are new, and so that they're trying to return it to, yes, its original architectural style, as it were at the time. And I know the country club here is doing that with theirs. So we'll see what people think of it. I know that the courses that I play the most around here, Walden and at Beachmont, they've taken down so many trees, and in many cases I don't like it because I feel like it's made the courses easier, but it's also it's undeniable that it's made the courses healthier as well in terms of the grass and what you're able to do. It's just now you can hit it in a lot more places than you could before. And I'm always when I'm giving strokes, I want the courses as hard as they can be because I feel confident I'm going to hit in the fairway. But now places that used to be in jail and trees, none of the trees are there anymore, so it's just rough.
They talked about this yesterday on the pregame on the Golf Channel. They were talking about how it does not matter if you're accurate off the tee. and by them accurate off the tee is down the middle in the fairway, that it really doesn't matter. If you can bomb it out there, it's not that punitive if you miss the fairway.
Yeah, right.
And that's what's happened at a play. And they said it'll even be exacerbated at this place.
Well, depending on what they do with the rough. But, yeah, if all of a sudden, the trees are a hazard, you're in the tree, you have to punch out. That's a stroke penalty.
Mm-hmm.
If now you're just over there in the rough and you can have an unobstructed shot to the green, it's really not that much of a penalty with how good these guys are, how far they hit it, and their ability to hit out of the rough with wedges.
Yeah.
So it becomes that bomb and gouge style of golf. But, yeah, it's wild to me that this is what places are doing. I get it from the turf management standpoint, but even as I'm looking at pictures of Oak Hill right now, it feels like just bomb it, just rip it, and then you have a chance to probably hit a high, hit a wedge or hit, an iron for them, because as far as they hit it, into these greens without being in that tree line jail where you have to take a stroke to punch out and then have to try to make an up and down for a par.
Yeah. Yep. There's not many there. Gibby, you got some props for us?
I do. By the way, per McAfee's announcement, Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays will continue next season.
Oh, wow.
This is from our friend, Ohio resident on Twitter. A.J. Hawk will stay on as co-host as well.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine
they
want
an independent. Yeah.
Sure,
they want all of it.
The successful parts of the show they would want.
Winning margin, 2 shots. It's plus 350.
Exactly? You would have to get that exactly at 2 shots, or is it 2 shots or more?
The winning margin will be 2 shots.
Yeah, those things are always tough.
That's crazy. Yeah, 2 or more, then I'd take that.
Before last year's playoff, the 21, 20, 19, 18, and 17 PGA Championships were won by 2 strokes.
Yeah, but that seems crazy chasing that around.
Yeah.
Correct. And the live guys can play on this, right?
Oh, yeah, they're all there. Yeah, people always get this confused. They think
Yeah.
that the PGA Championship is the PGA Tour.
No.
PGA Championship is put on by the Professional Golfers of America. This goes back to the split. This is Nicholas back in the 60s, who was one of the guys who did this in the late 60s, who split and made a true professional golf tour, and that's the PGA Tour. The PGA Championship is put on by the Professional Golfers of America.
Gotcha.
So this is the one you'll have, like, club pros in. Like, there'll be a couple club pros in this thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where did I lost my stuff here? Sorry, guys.
So I like that Jason Day's playing well. He's a good guy, and he won. He won last week.
Yes,
and
he
played well at the Masters. I'd love to see him get back in the mix. The one thing that I think we're at now is kind of like, and you can see it like wearing on Rory. Like Rory's like done talking live, and I think it's ridiculous that the golf media continues to ask him about it every single time at every tournament. Like he's gone above and beyond.
Yes.
He said everything.
Yep.
He almost single-handedly saved the PGA Tour. Like, let him go. He doesn't have to be the guy who stands up for everything all the time. Like, let him just go play. Like, he doesn't have to represent golf, the PGA Tour anymore. He's done it. Like, it's enough. And I think that the live thing is kind of going to be – I think that's something that is so inside baseball for, like, diehard golf people. Casual sports fans, they're not watching live, and they're not watching the tournament Jason Day won last week.
No. They're
watching the majors.
And I'm not sure anybody's watching live because you couldn't even watch the end of the final round.
Pretty bad. So that happened. So they were at a pretty even. I mean, from everything that I was reading about it, a pretty lackluster track in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And there was nobody there from the images that I saw. But it's not really about that. It's about a longer term play for them. I don't know. I'm not that. I don't really care about it anymore. I'm not watching the live events. I watched the very first round of the first one. I haven't watched it since. But I'll be into these majors. And I'd love to see Koepka and McIlroy in the final pairing.
More importantly, you can watch it all.
Yeah.
ESPN Plus, ESPN. Like,
who's got this?
Actually,
is this CBS on the weekend? This feels like this is always a CBS. CBS. That was the other thing.
No, it was
CBS
Fox.
is gonna
remember? A couple of years ago, it was
no.
pretty
Fox
awful.
was the U.S. Open.
That was U.S. Open.
Oh, it was?
That was U.S. Open. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. No, PGA has always been CBS.
Yeah, CBS.
Yeah, they've always. So CBS used to bookend the major season. They'd have the Masters and they had the PGA. Now CBS is essentially out of the golf game in terms of importance now.
So 1 o'clock for ESPN, ESPN2. You can start watching on ESPN Plus at 7 a.m.
Good.
Round 3, 8 to 10 a.m. on ESPN Plus. Early TV coverage 10 to 1 on ESPN, and then 1p to 7p on CBS. Pretty good.
I hope that the other thing that this does with the PGA is that playing in May. The one positive is it will allow them to play at courses they otherwise couldn't. So really warm weather courses that you can't play in August. I'm talking about in Arizona and Texas. Now you can play in those places this time of year.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll see them play some places we haven't seen before, which would be cool.
I would like that.
Yeah, me too. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. So who do you got?
1 minute, you're up.
This week in the PGA, Z.
I mean, I just feel like Rahm is so good right now. It's hard to go with anybody other than Rahm. That would probably be my favorite. It'd be great to see Justin Thomas repeat. I even after watching, the golf show on Netflix, I went and seen how close Brooks Koepka got. To see him come through would be pretty neat, but I feel like the way that he was unable to come through at the Masters might have fairly devastating effects if he were to ever get close again.
It's funny. He went from like villain to somebody I real
30-30. Yeah. Who do you want?
Him. Yeah. I always like Rory, and I think he's got a lot on him. I don't think there's any chance. He seems like he's not in a good spot, but it feels like he took a lot on himself on that Masters result. But I can't help but root for the guy. And then Jason Day. I'd love to see Jason. Just knew him a little bit from Central Ohio, so that would be something that would be pretty cool if that were to happen.
One other name.
All right, kids.
I just throw up Finau.
Yeah.
I like Finau. He seems like such a good dude, and it would be cool for him to get to win a major.
Agreed. The next level is next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.